Hey friends, thanks for tuning in. I've got a comment here on one of my recent streams on the YouTube for this little tune here of James's. It's called Late Norther. It's an instrumental piece that comes from his Where'd You Hide the Body album. He plays this in the tuning that I call the McTuning. I've got a link in the description below to a little how-to demo I did a couple of years ago on how James uses that particular tuning. This is a tune that is set up in that way. I'm not going to go into all the details. You can go check that video out, but basically there's a capo configuration here. You start with an open G tuning, tune your low D down one more step to C, and then put a capo on the 5th fret here for every string except that low C. You can take a standard capo and turn it around backwards. I happen to have one here that is built for this. It's got a little gap there for the lowest string. All right, so let's take a walk through this tune now. It's got. I'm going to go through 4 main sections of the video here. In the first section, I'm going to talk about the first phrase played on the lowest strings. And then in the second part, I'll go to the second phrase, which is played in here, and then sort of the middle of the register for this setup. And then I'll close off the third phrase with what's going on in the high registers. And then the last segment of the video, I'll talk a little bit about how he kind of improvises around these shapes that we worked with up to that point. You can hear there's a section in the song where he's doing kind of a call and response with the sort of South Asian percussion that's accompanying his guitar playing. So we'll see how that works. So let's jump right in here. The first phrase itself has 4 sub-phrases. The first and the third of them are identical. And on the second and the fourth, there's a little variation to do on the 4th time to separate it out from how it sounds the second time. It'll make sense in a minute. So we're going to start here with our hand, our left hand or fretting hand in the second position with respect to the capo. So 2nd and 4th frets here. We're going to be playing on the 5th, mostly the 5th and the 4th strings. That's our first little shape. Okay, so we're going 2nd to 4th fret on the 5th string, and then we're adding in that 2nd fret hammer on the 4th string. That's the first of the 4 segments of this initial phrase. All right, the second time it's kind of a resolution midway through this first phrase. I'll do that again. Okay, now third time around, it just repeats that first phrase. On the 4th phrase, that's all happening on the 2nd position here. So that's the 4th. That's the thing that brings it home for that first thing. Let's do that phrase all the way through now. Okay, there we go. That's the first phrase of the tune. Second phrase is when he moves up into the middle registers for this tuning, and this is probably the one where it'll take the most work to get. There's a fair number of runs going up and down that we're going to be doing. Let's talk about the left hand on this. Similarly to that first phrase, this one also has segments 1 and 3, 2 and 4. So let me just play it through here. Now, it's very similar on the left hand. It's basically identical on the left hand. The 1 and 3 are the same, and the 2 and the 4 are the same segments of this particular phrase. It's the timing of how you pick that fourth time around that sets it apart from the second time around. That's 1. On the fourth time around, you get a little bit ahead of yourself there, a little bit ahead of where, like by half a beat. It's hard for me to describe. I'm hopeful that you could just play back that section of the video there and get that difference in tempo. It's what sets that part of the phrase apart. It's the timing that he's doing there with his right hand, and I'll come back to the right hand in a second. Is pretty familiar in sort of the bluegrass Appalachian music kind of world. Okay, let's now move from this mid-register thing, and before I do, let me talk a little bit more about that. Sort of an F major 7th position you would have relative to the capo. So if you just leave, similar fashion to here when we were leaving our hand in that second position, here you'll be down to first position. And leaving 1, 2, and 3 on these strings is going to make, it sounds like a lot of work on your left hand, but this is what kind of makes it a little bit simpler. And on that end of that first phrase and third phrase, you want to hit that whole chord. As long as you are keeping your, don't move your finger to a different fret. Leave the first finger, first fret, second on second, third on third. Now with the right hand, let's see, where can I get the right hand? Which camera? Here we go. On the right hand, it's just alternating back and forth. And so I'm just keeping it up and down going, and when I need to skip a note, I just don't sound it. And I'm trying, to keep my hand from going too far up and down so that I can just concentrate on these strings. And this that kind of prevails throughout the tune. Okay. Now let's take the third main phrase here, the one that's in the highest notes that he plays, and that's up here. So we're in the first position. We're going to be doing a hammer on, oops, and then a slide up, and then we're going to drop down with our second finger and hit the third fret of the highest string. So those are our notes. Going back to that the same kind of phrase that we used in phrase 2 of the song. Oops, ignore my bad fingering there. I went down to here. Okay, let's now do the whole high register phrase. Okay, so let's now also want to show the transition from the middle phrase to that high register phrase. So let's do that. Okay, so what I did there was I was focusing on these strings, these main ones here for this chord, but then I just kind of let my right hand, let me move the right hand back into the camera here, let my right hand just kind of drift down a little bit and start including these. Okay, so that's the third main phrase of the song. The fourth part of the video here I want to turn to just a few words on what he's doing when he starts to kind of vamp and improvise on the studio recording. And as you probably guessed already, he's just playing some of these same notes that he's been using in the main shapes, but just kind of, you know, improvising as he's doing call and response with that cool percussion. So it's you can hear some of those notes. Another thing he's doing there, these notes that we just used in the high register thing. Another thing he does is he goes down here to this C note on the third note. It's on the D string. But when you do that, you get four C notes in a row. Major drone thing there. So he's working in some textures there while he's doing all these kinds of notes in that call and response kind of mode. I don't do that fancy stuff when I play this song, just because it's a little too fancy, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing when I get into that sort of thing. All right, so those are the main sections. I think what I'll do now, just to close out, is I'll just play the song front to back the way I do it. I take that first phrase and I do that once, then I move into the second phrase, and before I hit the third phrase I come back and do first phrase, second phrase again, then I go into the third phrase. Then I'll close out with returning to phrase one but only doing half of it, the second half, then into phrase two, second half, and then close out with on the high register stuff. So I'll just go ahead and run through that here for you, and that'll close out. So thanks a lot. I hope this has been helpful for folks trying to learn this tune. This is a bit of a workout, so I'm hoping this is helping. So here we go. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.